Let us now proceed to Lesson 2, the physiological basis of behavior. In this lesson, we are going to study the parts and functions of the nervous system, and we are going to explore as well the endocrine system. Now, what is nervous system? Nervous system is defined as a complex communication network controlling the body's internal environment as well as its responses to surroundings. So dito sa nervous system, pag-aaralan natin kung paano nagkakaroon ng communication, neural communication from the stimulus, and how does it the information travels through our brain, and we are going to study as well how our brain function to respond to the surroundings. But what is the basic structural unit of the nervous system? They are called neuron or nerve cell. There are an estimate number of neurons in the human body, ranging from 10 billion to 1 trillion of neurons with different shape and size. So they act as biological battery which contains ion that works electrically. However, about 50,000 of neurons may die each day, and when they die, they are lost forever. However, there are also instances wherein neurons are replaced. A stimulus is any object or energy change in the physical environment that excites our sense organ. So, ibig sabihin, pag sinabi nating stimulus, ito yung mga bagay from our environment na pwede nating makita, maamoy, malasahan, maramdaman, o marinig. Okay? Ang tawag sa kanila ay stimulus. Now, let us discuss the three types of neuron according to function. Number 1 is sensory neuron. Sensory neuron is also known as afferent neuron. It transmits impulses received by the receptor to the central nervous system. So, i-analyze natin ito. Pag sinabi nating impulses, ito yung mga information. Nagtatransmit siya ng information received by the receptor. Pag sinabi nating receptor, ito yung part ng body natin that receives the message. Ano ba yung mga parts ng body natin na nagre-receive ng message? Ito yung mga senses. Pag nakikita muna natin bago makarating sa brain, naririnig ng tenga, na aamoy ng ilong, natitaste ng tongue. So, ito yung mga receptor. And then the moment na ma-receive ng receptor yung information, it will be sent to the central nervous system. Ang central nervous system ay binubuo ng brain at spinal cord. So again, the function of the sensory neuron is to transmit impulses na nare-receive ng receptor and send that to the central nervous system. Okay, dadaan muna sa spinal cord bago makarating sa brain. Another type of neuron according to function is the interneuron, which is also known as associative neuron. It is commonly known as the thoughts, receive the signals from the sensory neuron and send impulse to the other interneuron, then to the motor neuron. This can be found only in the brain, eyes, and spinal cord. So, itong interneuron, pagkatapos ma-receive ng sensory neuron ang information, dito dinadala sa interneuron or associative neuron which are located in the brain. Dito nag-iisip kung ano yung magiging reaction dun sa stimulus. Halimbawa, ang stimulus natin ay ice cream. Nakita ng ice. Dun sa ice, nandun ang optic nerve, nandun yung sensory neuron. Sila yung nagdadala ng information sa interneuron para sabihin na ang nakita niya ay ice cream. And then, yung interneuron, which is commonly known as the thought, siya yung mag-iisip what should be the response or reaction to that particular stimulus. Now, you may ask, if the interneuron is known as the thought, why is it that some of them are also located in the eyes and spinal cord? It is because meron kasing mga spinal cord is also responsible for reflexes or automatic behavior. May mga responses na it does not have to go along to the brain and to think how to react with the stimulus. Like for instance, blinking of the eyes, it's already an automatic behavior. Hindi na natin kailangang isipin kung magbiblink ba tayo ngayon or magbiblink ba tayo maya-maya na. Okay, so reflexes. Now, the third type of neuron is the motor or efferent neuron. Motor means movement. Carry outgoing signals from the brain or spinal cord to the effector organs, namely muscles and glands. So, motor neurons are located in the muscles and glands. So, let's continue our example. Suppose our stimulus is an ice cream, and then the information was sent to the interneuron through the sensory neuron. Ang sabi ng sensory neuron, may nakita akong ice cream. And then, ang interneuron mag-iisip, ano kaya ang gagawin ko sa ice cream? Teka, parang masarap ang ice cream. Gusto kong kumain ng ice cream. Then the interneuron will send signal to the motor neuron, which are located in the muscles and gland, to make our body move in order to get the ice cream and eat the ice cream. Now, let's discuss the components or parts of neuron. First, we have the dendrite. The dendrites are short fibers which transmit or conduct impulses toward the cell body. And the axon are long fibers which transmit or conduct impulses away from the cell body. So, ito yung cell body. The cell body is also known as the soma. It received the signal from the dendrites which contains nucleus. So, dito, it contains nucleus. So, try to observe class. Ang dendrite, short fibers. Ang axon ay long fibers. Ang dendrite, nagkakadak or nagtatransmit ng impulses towards the cell body. Papunta sa cell body, while the functions of the axon nagtatransmit or nagkakandak ng impulses naman away from the cell body. What are the other parts of neuron? So the next component is nucleus. Nucleus is the central part of the cell body, the one that I have pointed a while ago. Next, we have myelin sheath. It accelerates the transmission of the neural signal. Ang myelin sheath ay located sa axon. Ang function niya, pinapabilis niya yung pag-travel ng neural impulses to the brain in terms of emergency. Halimbawa, class ay maiipit ka sa pinto. Because of myelin sheath, nakakapag-travel ka agad yung information to the brain so that the brain could immediately think how to react to the situation. So, mabilis siyang makakapag-dictate sa other neuron like motor neuron para alisin yung kamay dun sa may pinto para hindi maipit. So, just imagine if we don't have myelin sheath, what will happen? So before we could realize, probably naipit na yung kamay natin. Now, next is terminal button, which is also known as axon terminal. These are small knobs at the end of the branch of axon. Yung dulo kasi class ng axon, meron siyang mga maliliit na knob. Okay? Yung mga branches niya, may maliliit na knob. Ang tawag doon ay axon terminal or terminal button. Next is synapse. synapse is the point of contact between the two neurons. Ang mga neurons class, actually, kahit na sabihin natin na millions ang dami nila, but they are not directly connected to each other. Merong space in between na tinatawag natin na synapse. Now, in that case, meron tayong tinatawag na presynaptic membrane. Membrane means skin, and postsynaptic membrane. So the presynaptic membrane is the membrane on the side that send the message, while postsynaptic membrane is the membrane on the side that receive the message. So parang cellphone lang, okay? May nagsisend, may nagre-receive. May nagsisend from one neuron to the next neuron. So paano nakakapag-send ng information from one neuron to the next? So if the neurons are not directly connected to each other, then in what way that the information can travel from one neuron to the next? The answer to that is neurotransmitter. Neurotransmitter facilitates the transfer of information from one neuron to the next. So it works electrically. So ito yung isang neuron, okay? So meron dyan na presynaptic membrane, and then the next neuron, nandito naman yung postsynaptic membrane. This is the membrane on the side that's received the message. So dito, hindi to basta-basta nagre-receive. Meron talagang appropriate partner yan. Corresponding partner from one neuron to the next. Now let's proceed with the nervous system organization. The nervous system has two main divisions. The first one is the central nervous system, and the other one is the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system is composed of the brain and spinal cord, while the peripheral nervous system is composed of autonomic nervous system and somatic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system is again divided into two, which compose of the sympathetic and parasympathetic. As you can see in the figure, the central nervous system is composed of the brain and the spinal cord, while the peripheral nervous system are other parts outside the brain and spinal cord. Brain is the control system of the nervous system. It is also the control center of the body. It remains active even when we are asleep, so it works 24/7. It is protected by the skull. Brain hemisphere. The biopsychologist Roger Perry was awarded for his work on the special abilities of the cerebral hemisphere. At one time, left hemisphere, because of the discovery of its function, and the right brain was considered the minor hemisphere. But now it is known that it has ability of its own. Therefore, both right and left hemisphere has its function. So, ang ibig lang sabihin nito, it was discovered na ang brain natin ay nahahati sa dalawa, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. So initially, yung unang na-discover na functional ay ang left hemisphere, kaya tinatawag na ito ay dominant. But later on, they found out na meron din palang corresponding function ang right part of the brain. That is why both right and left hemisphere are considered functional. It is said that a person could either be left-brained or right-brained. If the person is left-brained, then he may be good in terms of number skill, written language, reasoning, spoken language, scientific skills, and right-hand control. Bakit right-hand control? Kasi ang left brain controls the right part of the body and the right brain controls the left part of the body. Kaya kapag halimbawa merong nagka-stroke and then yung left brain yung na-damage, the part of the body that is mostly affected is the right part. How about the right-brained people? They are good in terms of insight, 3D forms, art, awareness. They are imaginative, creative, good in terms of music, and they are using their left hand, okay, for writing. So, sinabi natin kanina na yung right brain controls the left part of the body. Kaya kapag ikaw ay right brain, left hand, okay, ang ginagamit. They are also good in recognizing the pattern of faces and melodies. Ikaw parang familiar ka sa akin. Familiar sa akin yung face mo, I just forgot your name. So, yung pangalan nakalimutan, pero yung faces nare-recognize. Recognition of and expression of emotion. So, they may be good in terms of EQ, no? Emotional quotient or non-verbal. Madali nilang ma-perceive. Now, how about those people who could actually use both left and right hand? Paano naman yung situation nila? Well, the person is called ambidexter while the condition is called ambidextrous. Meron talagang mga tao na kaya nilang gamitin both hands, pero masasabi natin kung sila ay left or right brain by the hand that is frequently used and which is also stronger. So halimbawa si Manny Pacquiao, ginagamit niya kaliwa kanan pero stronger yung kanyang left hand, so therefore we can construe that the person is a right brain individual. Now let us proceed with the major parts of the brain. First, we have cerebrum. It is the biggest part of the brain, divided by the corpus callosum. So, in this figure, itong buong to, okay, yung pinakamalaking part na yan, nandito yung left, pag dinivide natin, magkakaroon ng left and right hemisphere, ito yung cerebrum, the biggest part of the brain. And then, ito naman, yung corpus callosum, okay, yung kulay green. Pag hinati natin, yung brain, left hemisphere and right hemisphere, at the middle of that, it is divided by the corpus callosum. Another part is the cerebellum. Cerebellum is the miniature version of the brain, which is also known as the little brain, while medulla is the extension of the spinal cord that controls the heartbeat, breathing, and blood pressure. This is the cerebellum. This is what we call the little brain. Kasi eto na yung malaking brain, tapos nagkaroon pa ng maliit na brain dito. That's why it's called miniature part of the brain. Now, this is the medulla, which is the extension of the spinal cord. Now, each part of the brain has a corresponding function. So, in addition, these are other parts of the brain. Thalamus plays an important role in control of the sleep or wakefulness. Hypothalamus governs eating, drinking, sexual behavior, which is also the control center of emotion, and regulates endocrine activity. So dito, merong association yung function ng brain, ng nervous system with the endocrine system. Kasi yung may mga hormones na situated in our brain, like for instance, thalamus, possible that it may associated with the melatonin, which is responsible for the sleep-wake cycle. It is a hormone responsible for sleep-wake cycle. Now, hypothalamus governs eating, drinking, and sexual behavior. So, meron siyang function sa metabolism. It also controls, it is also the control center of emotion, which also regulates the endocrine activity. So, instead of saying daw na I love you from the bottom of my heart, you should have said I love you from the bottom of my hypothalamus, kasi yung heart hindi naman talaga siya responsible for emotion. So it maintains homeostasis, which refers to the normal body temperature, heart rate, and blood pressure. Okay? So siya yung nagme-maintain. hypothalamus. Another part is the reticular system, which also plays an important role in controlling our state of arousal, and limbic system, the primitive part of the brain that lies or located within the brain. Now, how about spinal cord? Spinal cord act like a cable connecting to the brain to the various parts of the body. So, para siyang cable na nagko-connect dun sa brain and to the different parts of the body. It is protected by the spine or the spinal column, and one of its function is for automatic behavior or reflexes. Example, grasping reflex for the newborn, Babinski reflex. Okay, blinding light, there could be a response within 0.8 milliseconds. Okay, and 1 millisecond is equivalent to 1,000 of seconds as fast as that. Okay, yun yung function ng reflex or automatic behavior. Since we are done with one of the divisions of nervous system, the central nervous system, which is composed of the brain and spinal cord, let us now proceed to another division of the nervous system, which is the peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system is composed of the nerve fibers going to and from the nervous system and lies outside the bony case of the skull and spinal column. So, located siya sa labas ng skull at spinal column. Under peripheral nervous system, we have the somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Yung somatic nervous system, nagre-regulate or interact in the external environment. So, somatic nervous system, pag sinabi nating external environment, ito yung anything outside the body. Pag sinabi naman natin internal environment, anything within the body. So kapag nagre-regulate or interact in the external environment, anong type ng neuron according to function, okay, ang involved? It could be sensory and motor neuron. Kasi sensory ang nagre-react sa ang nagsisense dun sa stimulus, at ang motor neuron naman ang nagre-react dun sa stimulus. Now, how about autonomic nervous system? It regulates in the internal environment. So, just like the function of interneuron or associative neuron, internal kasi nangyayari siya within the body, okay, sa brain habang nag-iisip how to react with the stimulus. The autonomic nervous system is composed of sympathetic and parasympathetic. Yung sympathetic, it arouses the body, while parasympathetic, it calms after the arousal. So, normal lang na ma-arouse yung body kasi may function yan yung function ng sympathetic. Halimbawa, nangyayari ito when you are angry, when you are in a situation of fight or flight. Pag sinabi nating fight or flight, nandito ka sa sitwasyon na hindi mo alam kung magpo-proceed ka ba or magwi-withdraw ka na lang kasi medyo complicated yung situation. Okay, so magbigay tayo ng example. Halimbawa, na-hold up ka. So, medyo kinakabahan ka. Okay, it arouses the body. Hindi mo alam kung lalaban ka ba or tatakbo ka. Okay, fight or flight response. Now, it increases heart rate and breathing. It stops digestion, which also happens sa sinasabi nila na butterfly in my stomach. Pag kinakabahan ka, halimbawa, during the interview. Now, ano naman ang function ng parasympathetic? Mabuti na lang at merong parasympathetic kasi yung function niya, it calms after the arousal. It produces the effect opposite to those of the sympathetic division, and it reduces heart rate and breathing. So parang pinapakalma niya yung body natin. Let's give an example. Halimbawa, nagkaroon ng sunog. What will be your initial reaction? Possible na magpapanik, kinakabahan, mapapasigaw, something like that. But, in that situation, normal lang yun kasi nga may sunog. But, hindi naman pwede na yung reaction na yun, yung time na yun, magiging reaction mo pa rin the following day, the next day, until next week. So, hindi naman pwedeng nagpapanik ka araw-araw. That's why we have this parasympathetic nervous system because it calms the body after the arousal. Kaya nga kapag merong miscommunication o kaya merong kaalitan at galit na galit siya, ano nagpa-function? Sympathetic. So, sometimes kapag galit ang tao, and sasabayan mo all the more na magagalit siya. Pero it could also be possible na antayin mo muna si parasympathetic. Antayin mo muna na makalma siya and then that's the time you talk to the person. Okay? So, okay ka na? Okay ka na? Kasi kapag in the arousal state, parang hindi pa siya ganun ka okay kausap. Homeostasis is a dynamic balance between the autonomic branches. So kung mapapansin niyo sa figure, si sympathetic activity nagdo-dominate kasi nandun siya sa fight or flight. Masyado siyang kinabahan kasi biglang nagkaroon ng ahas. Now, pagdating naman dito sa parasympathetic activity dominates, medyo na-relax na siya. Okay na siya. Okay? So, kailangan ng balance which is called homeostasis. Since we are already done with the nervous system, let us now proceed with the next topic, which is all about the endocrine system. The glands are the part of the body that synthesize substance. They are important organs that are located throughout our body. They produce and release substances that perform certain functions. Though we may have many glands, they can be categorized into two types. So these are the two types of glands, the exocrine gland or the duct glands and the endocrine glands or the ductless glands. The exocrine glands, these are the glands with passageway or duct where they pour their secretion into. Meron silang dinadaanan or passageway or duct. Like example, the oil glands, the tear glands, the sweat glands. So may passageway yan bago sila lumabas dun sa body natin. Kaya tinatawag na exo. Now, how about the endocrine gland or the ductless gland? Ductless, wala silang dinadaanan na passageway because they go directly to the bloodstream. They do not have passageway. They pour their secretions or the hormones directly to the bloodstream. So what are the glands of the endocrine system? We have the thyroid gland, parathyroid gland, pineal pituitary, adrenal, pancreas, and gonads. The thyroid gland secretes thyroxine, a hormone that can be reduce concentration and lead to irritability when the thyroid is overactive. And it may also cause drowsiness and being sluggish metabolism when the thyroid is underactive. So pag sinabi nating overactive, it means over-secretion. Kapag underactive, under-secretion. The next is parathyroid gland. Within the thyroid are four tiny pea-shaped organs, the parathyroid, that secretes parathyroid hormone to control and balance the levels of calcium and phosphate in the blood and tissue fluids. This in turn may affect the excitability of the nervous system. Another gland is the pineal gland. It is a pea-sized gland that apparently responds to exposure to light and regulates activity level over the course of the day. It secretes melatonin hormone that is responsible for the sleep-wake cycle. Undersecretion may lead to sleep disorder. Kaya pag halimbawa nasa middle age na tayo, nasa late adulthood, kung mapapansin natin, sina nanay, sina tatay, pagising-gising na sa gabi kasi hindi na regular yung kanilang sleep-wake cycle because of undersecretion of melatonin. Kaya may mga gamot na with melatonin content para makatulong dun sa regular na sleep-wake cycle. Next is the pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is also located in the brain. It produces the largest number of different hormones and therefore has the widest range of effects on the body function. It is also called the master gland because it responds to chemical messages from the bloodstream to produce numerous hormones that trigger the action of other endocrine glands. So, tinatawag din siya na master gland kasi yung function niya ay connected with other endocrine gland. Adrenal glands are located above the kidneys. So, meron tayong tinatawag na adrenal medulla and adrenal cortex. So, iba't ibang hormones yung kanilang nire-release. But generally, the hormone that are secreted by adrenal gland are the adrenaline hormone and noradrenaline hormone. It regulates heartbeat and blood pressure and usually active during stress response. Next is the pancreas. It lies in a curve between the stomach and the small intestine, which controls the level of sugar in the body by secreting the insulin and glucagon hormone. So, dito, nag-secrete siya ng insulin and glucagon which regulates the blood sugar levels. So, undersecretion or oversecretion of this hormone may lead to diabetes. And finally, gonads. Gonads for female is the ovaries. For male, it is the testicles. The ovaries secretes estrogen and progesterone that is responsible for secondary sexual changes. Pag sinabi natin secondary sexual changes, ito yung changes that occur during the time of puberty, yung mga physical changes, and preparation for pregnancy. Okay, so that is the function of the hormones, estrogen and progesterone. Now, how about for male? It secretes androgen and testosterone, which is also responsible for secondary sexual changes, those physical changes that is happening during the time of puberty among male, and also it regulates the production of sperm cell. Just to summarize, here are the endocrine glands and the hormones, corresponding hormones. Pituitary gland, it secretes growth hormones. The thyroid, it secretes thyroxine hormone. Parathyroid hormone. Pancreas, it secretes insulin and glucagon, while adrenal gland, it secretes adrenaline or noradrenaline. The pineal gland secretes melatonin hormone, and the gonads such as ovaries and testicles secretes estrogen, progesterone, androgen, and testosterone hormone.